What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is something I meant to talk about a couple of days ago, but just forgot, man. Sometimes, when you combine the video requests and there are other things that pop up, breaking stories, sometimes I get a little bit off track. But a couple of days ago, actually about maybe 4 or 5 days ago, Jenifer Lewis was on Stephen A. Smith's, I think his YouTube podcast. And on this episode that he uploaded, this one of the segments, Jennifer Lewis was going in on Black and Latino men for not voting for Vice President Kamala Harris and saying that, quote, they didn't vote for her because she was a woman. They didn't care that she was smart and powerful, educated, beautiful, kind, joyful, fearless. She would have taken care of this country. She would have protected the people. She would have surrounded herself with great minds. But keeping women in their place was more important to them. And she goes on to say they voted for him, Trump, because they hated themselves. And they see this thing, the MAGA movement, as powerful, that he's going to move mountains for them and make them rich. And unfortunately, Black men, they want a man. They said, I'm voting for the man. Lewis's remarks add her to a string of other prominent personalities who have chalked up Harris's loss to some form of discrimination, mostly racism or misogyny or self-loathing, including CNN's David Axelrod, MSNBC host Joe Scarborough, Squad member Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the co-host of The View. She also said to those who voted for Trump, is a decision they will soon regret. Oh, honey, when your favorite niece and your 13-year-old daughter is raped by your alcoholic brother or your next door neighbor, and she tries to get rid of the baby inside of her from the grape, you're going to regret that. Y'all done effed up. You took every right from your children. Well, let's just look at the numbers here. 78% of Black men voted for Kamala Harris versus 21% that voted for Trump. 1% voted third party. I was one of the 1% that voted third party, right? Many of you are among the 21% that voted for Trump. Some of you are the 78% that voted for Kamala Harris. When you look at the numbers, we were the third biggest voting bloc for Kamala Harris, the biggest being Black women. 92% voted for Kamala Harris. And Jews voted 79% for Kamala Harris. So we voted 78%. Altogether, around 85% or so of Black Americans in general voted for Kamala Harris. So when you contrast that with polling that earlier showed her in the low 70s, showed Joe Biden doing as poorly as the upper 60s, I think that they did a good job of actually getting out Black voters. They got a good turnout. They got a good Black turnout out. It's just, it wasn't sufficient to offset the losses primarily seen with Latino men, right? Now, according to exit polling, around 54% of Latino men voted for Trump. But this is what I'm not understanding from Jenifer Lewis. All this lecturing that you're doing to us, you really should be doing that to your white female counterparts. They're the ones that, once again, in a majority, voted for Trump. I never see you guys call them out. Never. Never see you guys do it. I remember on election night, ABC News, when it was still the possibility that Kamala Harris might win, they were doing a lot of praising of white women, saying, oh, white women are going to make a statement. White women are going to be the leaders in this revolutionary election of a woman. But then when it started becoming apparent that Kamala was going to lose, then it started shifting the argument to, well, Hispanics and black men didn't vote for Kamala Harris. How about this? Instead of calling us misogynists, right? How about you look at the fact that there are people who only voted for Kamala Harris because she was a woman? I mean, there are a lot of voters who are misogynists, okay? There are a lot of women who voted for her only because she's a woman, which I think is just as bad and just as irresponsible as not voting for someone because of their gender. How about there are people that vote based upon the issues? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic Party has been slightly hemorrhaging ever so subtly every election cycle black men since before Kamala Harris. Joe Biden didn't do as well with black men as Barack Obama did. So this is a process that's been ongoing since actually 2012. I think in 2008, Barack got something like 95% of the black male vote. In 2012, I think he got something around 93%. Still a good percentage, but it was down a little bit. Joe Biden got like, I think it was 80, what was it, like 80% of the black male vote? So there was a big dip off. So it's not because of the fact that she was a woman. It's because of the policies of the Democratic Party and what they represent and the things they stand for are just not in line with what many black men believe in. I don't want to get into specifics, but we know what we're talking about here. It's a Democratic Party platform issue. It's not because she's a woman. Are there voters who didn't vote for her because she's a woman? Absolutely. Just like there are voters who voted for her only because she's a woman. You only need to look at Lipstick Alley for that one. Just take a gander at Lipstick Alley, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Feminazis galore who hate men. They do exist, you know. Women who hate men, absolutely. And I'm really getting tired of people like Jenifer Lewis, who, by the way, I don't think she has a leg to stand on in this situation because, Jenifer, didn't you admit to bopping or bopping? Didn't you admit to bopping, what's his face? I forget his name right now. Guy from Midnight Cowboy. Angelina Jolie's father. I just can't think of his name right now. I know him, but I just can't think of his name. You admit to bopping this dude back in the day, right? What's his damn name? John Voight. You admitted to bopping John Voight, right? John Voight is the biggest MAGA actor in Hollywood. I mean, he's way out there. And you said that you bopped him. So I don't think that he's changed his politics that much in 40 years. I mean, you don't go from being extreme liberal to extreme right-wing guy. So he probably was always, to a certain extent, right-wing, a right-wing guy. So you bopped him. So, I mean, I don't really want to hear that from you. Okay? And what you do in your personal life is your own personal life. But you know what else is in our personal lives? Who we vote for. None of your business. I don't have to admit at Thanksgiving who I voted for. It's none of your fucking business who I voted for. Okay? But there's a reason why people vote. And most people take their vote responsibly. most people take their vote seriously, and it's not up for public debate. Now, you can have your opinion, but I don't owe anybody an explanation for how I voted or who or why I didn't vote a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of crying and moping and complaining a month later, how about the fact that maybe you guys just ran a horrible candidate? I mean, let's not forget that the Democratic Party already back in 2019, 2020 rejected her when she ran for president the first time. And she was only selected. I mean, she was what you would call, I hate to use this term, but she was a DEI hire. She was not selected because of her political acumen. And what's this? She's described her as being, let's look back at this. She said she was smart. I think she's a smart woman, but she's not very politically, she's not a great politician. Powerful, educated, beautiful, kind. I don't know about that part. I don't know how kind you can be when you go around locking up black men just to pad your prosecutorial career, your prosecutorial record, I should say, and advance your prosecutorial career so you can get into politics. Just like how Alvin Bragg is doing in New York. I don't think you're that kind. Say that to the guy who face she laughed in when she knew he was an innocent man, but she was going to send him to prison. And see how kind she is to him. Joyful, fearless. She would have taken care of this country. She would have ran this country into the ground. She can't even manage her campaign. She had $1.4 billion and is begging her donors to help pay off the debt. Why don't you go and ask Oprah? Go ask Al Sharpton. Go ask all these Beyonce. Go ask all these celebrities you paid millions of dollars to, and help them actually pay off your campaign debt. She would have protected the people. She would have surrounded herself with great minds. She would have been a puppet. That's what she would have been, an absolute puppet. And like I said before, people like her just got to stop whining and crying and moping and complaining. Stop being sore losers. You know, look, I got on Trump. I got on all those Republicans 4 years ago for being sore losers. I can't stand that. I can't stand people when they lose. They just cry and mope and complain and bitch and cry. Shut up, man. You lost. Regroup, strategize, and recoup and you know what I'm saying, come back 4 years from now and, you know what I'm saying, field a better candidate, adjust to what the public wants, and maybe you'll win. Come up with a better platform. She didn't provide voters with a reason to vote for her. When she came out and said in that interview that her administration would essentially be the same as the Joe Biden administration, that lost her the election. I mean, that's politics 101. When you have an incumbent that has a 40% approval rating, you don't go in an interview and say that essentially my administration is going to be the same. You don't poo-poo people's concerns about immigration and make it about Trump, especially considering the fact that he had already been president before. And up until the pandemic, his presidency, no matter how you looked at it, wasn't the end of the world. As a matter of fact, each person's situation is differently, but with me, I actually performed better financially under Trump than I did Obama. That's just happenstance. It's probably just coincidence. But if you're using the boogeyman factor for me, that ain't gonna work. That's not working. You got to give other reasons for me to vote for Kamala Harris or vote for anybody. But nah. Come on, Jenifer. Move on. Man, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.
Real.